Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome to our town hall number 55. It's the 21st of July, and I'm joined as usual by my co-hosts Marek and Fensmaker.
Hi everyone.
And as usual, we'll wait a few minutes for people to join us live. Um, we have some nice updates as usual. Good progress and a few interesting questions in AMA. Hi, Basket Rover. Happy Sunday. And we have an invitational next Sunday, a big invitational, a special invitational. I hope you guys are looking forward to that, whether your horse has made it to there or not. Hi, Tomo. I hope you're all having a great weekend. We have two more minutes until we start the updates. Hi, Agus. Good morning. The farther I run away from my cats, the louder they start shouting. I think there's no running away from these guys. But it's mainly Pixel. Pixel is a very beautiful Swedish, well, born in Sweden, Bengal cat. Bengal cat, and she's Snow Lynx. She's a very light colored one. I'll post a photo later on Discord. But she's also been pretty loud in general. She likes calling and crying out. I even asked her original breeder whether this was normal, and it's just her personality. She's just very loud. Very sweet cat. Maybe one day we'll get a Pix meme coin. I'm not asking anybody to make that though. Yeah, it's very hot. We're thankful we have air conditions, so that makes it easier. Is the audio good for you guys? Very good. We'll be starting in less than a minute now. Whoops, looks like we just lost Fensmaker, but he'll be joining us back. I think he had some technical issue with the stream. All right, so without further ado, I will start going through our update. So we're gonna go over the 3D viewer. We're gonna have a bit of a dev update. The game design part, actually, we should remove it because we just removed the slide for that. Even though we have updates on that front, they're more internal study related things. As we're done with the race naming, we have marketing updates, and then we have a few AMA questions. So on the 3D viewer side, the good news, we shared a mini update on the Discord last week, but the race viewer has successfully loaded the race on the testnet. That race was on the blockchain. We managed to load that race on the blockchain successfully with a few graphical bugs, but it worked. So the next step was to make it, instead of loading a specific race, but to make it actually dynamic. And we have Fensmaker back. So instead, we made it dynamic, such that it loads every race from the blockchain. So any race we open loads up. That while doing that, we faced a few issues. So we're just fixing those in a way where it can load correctly. Now, the system also, we have a few more things that we also added while, like in addition to the support or integration, is we managed to support the saddle cloth numbering. So that already is happening live. Right now, they match the gate number. While that's not perfectly accurate, we're sticking to this for now as an implementation. Later on, we'll connect this actually to handicapping, so that the first handicapped horse will get number one, saddle cloth number one, regardless of the gate assignment. But that's for later. For now, technically, and while doing that, we also found an improvement in the memory side of things. So we'll also upgrade and refactor the horse colors to also be loaded in the same way. We have two main graphical issues regarding the 3D viewer. One is some of the missing texture paths, and we think we're onto the reason. We already figured out where some of those missing files were or how they should be loaded instead. And some of the things related to the camera angles is also related to the way we define the tracks. So we're also working on that, and it should be resolved as soon as possible. Just some screenshots. I think we shared this one in our spoiler or mini update. As you can see here, the ground texture is not loaded correctly. This is because of the missing texture files. Same also for some of these files, the hedges, some of the other screens and other assets. And you can see also here, the mini map shows a little bit of an odd yellow ring here. This is due to the track definition. So we also know why that's happening. And this is an older photo because it shows all of the horses with number one. But this is another screenshot from the 3D viewer. So this shows the saddle cloth number. You can see that number 6 here is the one leading here as well, number 2, and so on. So this is functional. And then you'll find this is a bit of an odd Lizzie-colored Cornelius, Guerrero-colored, Anara-colored Cornelius, etc. So these are us testing basically loading different colors, which will also later on flow into the silks. But it just shows how much livelier the visuals are. The horses are all the same color now, so that will also make it even more lively. And eventually we'll also support the different accessories that will also make this more variable. So I think it's going to look better and better as we support these functions. All right, so with that out of the way, I think the next update is on the dev side, and Fence is here to give us that update. If we can hear. Nick, is your mic okay? Looks like we have the same issue as before. I will cover the update to my best ability, and if Nick managed to get this working, he can correct me. So we've already created a global context to control the scene manager. So this is what I referred to earlier with the dynamic loading. So we made it in a way where if you see now the stable scene, it loads in the background. So we've changed that or updated it so that it can support races. What this means is that every time you open a race page, Nick, are you back? I think I can hear you.
Does this work?
Yes.
Ah, okay. I'm sorry. Had it on the wrong mic. Yeah. Well, basically, you explained a lot of it, and it's very related to the 3D viewer updates because right now we're just connecting the app to the viewer. But there's a lot of things where we're communicating information between the web app and the viewer, where we had put that in a long time ago, and now that we're actually using everything, a lot of things are being slightly redesigned, being more powerful, being more well divided in between who's responsible for what, and our employees that are taking care of the connection are really getting there. So it's really nice to see that working. We're gonna do live races. Dynamic races that are generated and then loaded and seen, and that's all working. now. So that's really nice to see. There's a lot of little kinks happening in the joining, because some of that was designed like a year and a half ago, and now that we're finally coming to all the fine details, some of them have to be slightly fixed, but that's normal, and that's working, and I'm happy to see it. Actually, I just want to see the texture bugs fixed, because now it looks less nice than it should, but it's really good to see all of it coming together and working in the real website. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think seeing it all come together is really good. We have an invitational coming up where you guys will also see some more curated, let's say, experience with the race list already showing, etc. But seeing it dynamic also, with just the concept that any race that runs now would be visible as a full and complete race in 3D, showing all of the correct horses with their colors, with their jockeys soon, and stuff like that. It's just exciting because this is the game, I'd say, except for the larger format part of the strategy. But it's just so great to see this all coming together, and we're just so close to having it wrapped up, I would say, as a functional thing. There's a bunch more, let's say, to support and add in, including skins, including a bunch of other things. We still are bound to test the tuning of the balance. That's very important. Testing race conditions, etc., more extensively, I think is very important. But just seeing this come together is great. I think it's the most important, let's say, milestone we have now. Everything else becomes a detail, I'd say, to the most extent. On the blockchain side, we also have a few, let's say, improvements, optimizations that we're working on, but that will also show with time, I think, as we add these user experience, let's say, improvements. There is a question of, will sounds be included with the first Yara event? Right now, we already have sound. The audio balance of the sound is not been tuned, so actually, the way we know that a race has loaded correctly is that we get blasted with our theme music very loud. So we've learned to mute that just out of habit, because we are refreshing and reloading often, and it gets surprising. But the right way to fix this is just to reduce that volume and fix the balance. But it's already supported. It's already functional. So we'll be testing using that. And as long as the streaming software we have, like the one we have now, cooperates well with the races being streamed, because I'd be disappointed if the frame rate looks much worse, for example, just because it's streamed, stuff like that. But for the first event, I hope you can give us a little bit of slack, just in case the technicalities of streaming don't work out so well. Obviously, we'll do some dry run testing, etc., etc. But as we explained earlier, the experience will be more and more polished as we go forward. So that's there. I think we have some marketing updates. Yeah, Mark?
Yeah. So one thing which we did kind of in the background, we had a chance to apply to Singapore Global Startups Program. It's one of probably quite a few, but this one is quite an interesting one. So we could submit details about what we do. Not like, of course, it's focused on equine, but obviously from the startup perspective, focuses more on the company itself and what the company does. It's cool because it gives us some exposure, and then if it goes well, that also helps potentially get maybe even extra funds, stuff like that. So we felt like it should be done on the side, independent from the game development itself. And we definitely want to do a bit more of that as we are getting the product to the point where it's closer to ready. And then the second big thing, as Fahad already mentioned, we are having the Invitational next week, which will be quite different from the past because it will be in engine. We will have the 3 different races. As you remember, in the last town hall, we did the random selection of horses that will participate, and the race itself will be in a week, exactly same time as the town hall. The next 3 slides, we do have all the horses and all the all the members of our community who managed to get in, right? So there are 3 different categories. The first one is 121 to 143. Those are the 12 horses that will participate. The next one is the second group, which is 144 to 154. And then the 155 plus. So we are definitely very excited and looking forward to having it happen. And we hope you will join to see it in action. Obviously, it's going to be both exciting and stressful, right? Because we want to make sure it works as smoothly as possible. But I think it will be a great learning experience for us and great showcase for you guys to show you the progress, right? Because we talk a lot about the progress, but seeing it live, as Fahad said, is kind of taking it to the next level of where we are, right? And how real it is becoming very quickly now.
I like how the start list is designed. I feel it would be cool if we can support this as like a intro before the race starts. Just show in the actual game these kind of cards. They actually look beautiful in this way. So if we can show some, like say a render of, not for this event, but if we can actually implement this in the real platform later on, where it shows the title of the race in this, let's say, format, before we see the individual horses running in. It would actually be cool. I love how they're presented here. Maybe the colors could match the silks of the owners, stuff like that, but just as a concept, I think it looks really nice. Okay, with that said and done, we go to the AMA. And if you have any other questions, you can drop them in the chat here now, and we'll check if there's any others that just came through Discord, just to be sure. But the first question was, in the real game, do ground conditions change? Yes, it's part of the simulation results, where the ground type and then the ground condition will have a weather forecast prior to the event, and then after the event starts, it will fix basically what the weather was at the event. And the ground condition will also basically be visible. So it's part of the simulation, and it will be affected by the horse agility and the other factors as well, and how they handle these ground conditions. That's one. Other question, I think from Lam, was, now that we are close to community testing, it seems odd that you decide to move town halls to monthly. Curious to know your reasoning. So the idea was, first of all, the reason we committed to the bi-weekly town halls is because we know that everyone is interested in getting regular updates about the progress. But we believe the closer we get to the community testing, it means the community will be closer to actually experiencing the platform. So that, let's say, main driver for doing the more regular town halls is gone, because you guys can see the product and interact with it once it's there, right? So, and that's coming very soon. So with that in mind, we believe there is less of that driver or that reasoning to do the more frequent town halls. At the same time, it's just a resource allocation thing. So having this happen twice a week puts a bit more strain on our marketing team to prepare some of these slides at events. So slashing it down to once per month, we believe will still provide adequate updates, while also keeping the resources to also work on other things for Equine. This is the reasoning, no secret there. The other question, I think, was also, internal testing has been ongoing for many weeks, yet little or no feedback to the community. Why is that? The feedback actually that we've been showing was what we've been showing through the town halls. I think the community team, so the beta has been extended to our dev team and the community moderator team. They've all worked with the platform. We've been sharing basically the updates so far on the 3D viewer, which is, again, not fully integrated into the beta, but has now just been deployed recently, let's say last week. But also we had an issue early on with the community mods participation, where their horses were put into the smart contract, but then due to an update that we made, basically those horses were temporarily locked out. So that reduced their ability to test. So they haven't been able to test as often, but it's still an ongoing integration kind of testing. It's not a fully finished, let's say, product testing. We're testing as we push these features on. So now that we have races, hopefully loading dynamic very soon as we fix that issure, we'll also have people join. And that also marks Our plan earlier was for August, within August, to have more community members join. And hopefully that will be more exciting, as that will also coincide with the horses being dynamically loaded. Sorry, the races being dynamically loaded. So instead of exposing the community to testing just a race list and entering horses, they should be able to also see the races happen in 3D. So that's why we've been doing this staged, let's say, release. So I think the little feedback is due to, let's say, the minimum amount of testing that the community team have managed to do, but also from our side, we've been sharing that progress. And as the platform gets more and more ready, and as we slash out more of these, let's say, issues, the more easy it will be. But the whole point of us doing the beta testing and to sharing it with more people is to actually get that word out on the platform, how it's functioning, and to also start ironing out these kinks. I will be very clear and transparent here. Even when we get more people to join in, it won't be, let's say, a super smooth experience. There will still be kinks. You still need to refresh maybe more often than needed. Some of the functions may need a bit more time to load. Maybe some parts will break while we're testing, but that's why we're doing it as testing. Its whole point is to find out these performance issues. And as we find them, it's more of a reason to start fixing them before it goes to mainnet. So that's the whole point of it. All right. So yeah, there's a lot of comments about the 186. I believe that's T-Rex. A lot of very nice horses actually there. Yeah, that's in the whole game actually for the current ones. So yeah, it does depend on the trace dynamics. That's the question. Do we know the race length? If I recall correctly, it was based on 6 or 7 furlongs. I apologize for not preparing. I don't remember the actual number, but I'll double check with the team which one of those was. But it was one of the two that will be applied. Yeah, and there's a suggestion of breaking horses' legs. We're not breaking any horses' legs. Let me get back to this. But in general, it is a shorter distance race. Let me just make sure I haven't missed any other questions that just came out. There's a suggestion from Escobar. Can you implement a system like Fantasy.top? People buy in random 5 horses of 4 ratings, given starts from 1 to 5, make different groups. Best total score gets the prizes. Horse owners could get. Escobar, you're almost reading my mind. I have a full concept, not this idea, but something that achieves, I would say, similar results to this concept that you just mentioned, that I think people would love. I will not share this now because number 1, it's premature. Number 2, I want to share this when it's implemented so that nobody runs and does this before us. But yeah, my thought is in the same direction. So I thought when we do roll this out, I think you like this idea. Okay, so we have a confirmation from Luke here that it's 1,400 or 7 furlongs. Thank you for that. All right, so that's good. Yeah, Escobar, I have a full concept that's much more elaborate, and I think people will probably love. I might consult a few community members later on this concept. I've already shared it with the community mods, but it's a little bit early, and our focus has been on this. That concept will only happen if we do a version 2 later on with a few more smart contract updates, because it will need a smart contract change. But it's an idea for people who don't want to commit to owning a horse yet, but still be able to join in the fun. So I think people will be bullish on that when we can do that, and it's in the interest of everyone. All right, I think that is the end. I don't see any more questions. Escobar is right. The highest rated writing minted was 191, but not in this invitation. All right, thank you so much for joining us. We will share with you guys more updates as they come. We'll be moving to the monthly updates for Town Hall starting in August. But this next Sunday, we will have the invitational. We'll be seeing you guys still twice a month. So once with the Town Hall and once with the invitational in the format that they're going. Can't wait to see you guys in the next event. I hope you guys are as excited as we are. And as usual, we'll still keep posting updates whenever we have significant ones, even outside the Town Hall. Thank you so much for joining us here. We appreciate your presence, and we'll see you guys soon.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care.